We have signed the Bela bill to be an act now. The celebrations are over. The next biggest task is that every child, including a child that is in a private school and a child that is in the public school, they must now know the history of our country and know who Richard Panyaza was. Yes. They must know who Chris Hani was. They must also know who Winnie Mandela was. So I want to challenge you as young people that the resolution that we have taken in various forums and the resolutions that we have taken in various conferences to ensure that the history of our country become compulsory in our education system must be implemented. It's very important, comrades, that we have to ensure that that reactionary Department of Basic Education must know that they will never shelve that resolution to make history compulsory in all high schools in our country. And we must underline all. When we say all, we mean all high schools. Whether the high school is in a private school, or the high school is in a public school, or the high school is in Orania, they must learn our history, and the project of publishing our history must not be stopped by this minister. There is a project, it has been concluded, to compile the history of our country and to profile our leaders. And that task was concluded. And our fear, Comrade SG, that this one that failed to sign or participate in the Bela bill may now want to stop the unstoppable of stopping our children to learn the history of our country, the true history of our country. So, comrades, if you understand that all of us here, we are products of sacrifices. We are products of those that sacrificed everything for us to be who we are today, will understand the importance of pushing this agenda to make history compulsory. I want to argue, comrades, that in those days when Nelson Mandela managed to be a lawyer, those days where Oliver Tambo managed to pass the way he passed his science subject, and our leaders that had all the qualifications, if they were selfish, because at that time to have a degree was a passport to good life, if they were selfish to continue with their studies or their family things and leave the struggle, will not be here by now. So the only sacrifice that is expected out of us is for our children and our children's children to know them. And for them to be known, they must be taught in the classroom. We must not tolerate our children coming with flowers when it's Valentine's Day, but when it's the 21st of March, no one gives them a constitution to understand why it's a Human Rights Day. We must not be excited when our children come to us on Mother's Day with love letters. But when it's the day where Chris Hani was assassinated, it is as if nothing happened. So our ability, therefore, to start this struggle is very important. So we want to call on the Youth League, wants to call on SASCO, wants to call on COSAS, want to call on the Young Communist League, the Women's League. Comrades, now that the portfolio of education is no longer in our hand, we need to put a strong alternative structure to pressurize this department. We need to put that education alliance to ensure that the enemy must not take advantage of the borrowed power that we've given them. And the pressure must be there. Comrade voter, you know, when this act or the Bela Act was signed by our president, some of us who have been in the student movement since day one were not only relieved, but at least were thrilled that our children will no longer be tortured and be asked about code of conduct that excludes the shape and the character of their hair. We can't have our children in our school. You know, there's this obsession with the children, with the hair of our children. And this obsession, when that bill was signed, came to an end. But my worry, and that's my big worry, that bill might have been signed, but the ANC and its structures are not putting modalities to ensure come academic year 2025, we implement that particular bill. Because if we can't do that, we would have missed an opportunity. So comrades, we are children of Panimulukwane. On the 30th of November next year, comrades, it will be 40 years since Panimulukwane perished. And the 40-year anniversary on the death of Panimulukwane can't go unnoticed. President of the Youth League, we should lead and tell young people that Panimulukwane was shot on the leg outside Sosolberg, but managed to walk 200 kilometers to go out, but unfortunately he couldn't, was surrendered by the army. There were only 3. The army with helicopters, with Caspers, with anything. They took the army 4 full hours fighting. It's only when they threw the bomb from the helicopter that they perished. And such bravery can't be left without being celebrated by us. It can't be. It can't be. Because they laid their lives for us to be where we are today. And as I say, comrades, you all know, when we go to celebrate June 16 National Days, when we go to celebrate Women's Day on the 9th of August, our children are not there. It's us. And we must push that these celebrations must happen right inside the classroom. And it must be compulsory to ensure that our history is inside the classroom. That's the new struggle, comrade. And that struggle must not be left to any other person. Must be our collective struggles. Comrades, I'm proud to invite our SG. I think Comrade Colin correctly captured